Hello all, welcome back. Now we are going to talk about the other part of the active elements called dependent sources. In the previous video, we have discussed about independent sources. So ideal and practical voltage sources, ideal and practical current sources, their characteristics, how are they being measured and all the other things. So in this video, we are going to talk about dependent sources. So you can see they are being totally of four types here. So voltage dependent voltage source, voltage dependent voltage source. So it is a voltage source which depends upon the voltage. If you look at the second one, it is a voltage source which depends upon the current. If you look at the third one, it is a current source which depends upon the voltage. The fourth one is a current source which depends upon the current. So finally, they are being classified as a voltage dependent voltage source, current dependent voltage source, voltage dependent current source, and current dependent current source. We'll discuss about each and every source in detail. So let us go on. So here you can see here all of you. So this is an independent voltage source. Within a circle, we write plus and minus. And within a circle, we keep a pointer according to show the direction of flow of current. The dependent sources are having a diamond-shaped symbol. So whenever plus and minus is written inside the diamond-shaped symbol, it represents a dependent voltage source. And in the similar way, dependent current source also have a diamond-shaped symbol, but in that diamond-shaped symbol, it has a pointer or the arrow which shows about the current direction. So we'll go more further. So let us talk about voltage dependent voltage source. The first dependent voltage source. It is a voltage source which depends upon voltage across some other element in the same circuit. So it is a voltage source which depends across voltage, which depends upon voltage across some other element in the same circuit. So this is a dependent voltage source because it has a diamond shaped symbol with plus and minus, and its supply is Vs. Supply is equal to alpha times of Vx. Alpha is a scalar quantity and Vx is voltage drop across some other element in the same circuit. I'll show you an example here. So this is an example for voltage dependent voltage source. In the circuit, you can see you have one voltage dependent voltage source, which is 2 times of Vx, a rhombus or a diamond shaped symbol with plus and minus, and 2 times of Vx. So we have to find out where is that Vx. Vx is voltage drop across 6 ohms. So what does this one is going to tell you? This one provides 2 times of voltage drop across 6 ohms. So that's why voltage dependent voltage source is generally described as it is a voltage source which tells about which depends on voltage across some other element in the same circuit. Here we are going to it is going to depend upon voltage across 6 ohms in the same circuit. So 2Vx means 2 times voltage of 6 ohms. So that's what we are going to do. Now let us go with the next voltage source, which is a current dependent voltage source. It is a voltage source which depends upon current passing through some other element in the same circuit. So here you can see here again it is a voltage source with plus and minus, and the supply is given by Vs, which is equal to R. R is again a scalar quantity and I into X. If you look at this equation, it looks like your Ohm's law. V is equal to R into A because voltage depends on current. So what is the reciprocal, what is the constant, proportionality constant? It is going to be R actually. So it is a voltage source which depends on current passing through some other element in the same circuit. Let us look at this an example here. So here we have this one. This is your voltage, current dependent voltage source because it is depending on the current I. 5I. I is nothing but the current passing through 2 ohms. So 5 into I is equal to 5 into current passing through 2 ohms. It is a voltage source which depends on current passing through the 2 ohms in the same circuit. That's why it is called as current dependent voltage source. We'll further go with the next source here. So the next source is current dependent current source. It is a current source which depends on current passing through some other element in the same circuit. So here you can see a rhombus shaped symbol with an arrow here. So, so this arrow represents the direction of flow of current. So IS is equal to beta times of IS. IS means the current given by this current source, current dependent current source. Beta is going to be a scalar quantity and IY is current passing through some other element in the same circuit. Let us go with an example here. So you can see in this circuit diagram, we have a current dependent current source, which is 29 into I beta. 29 is a constant. So where is I beta? I just have to go and check with the circuit where is I beta. I beta is current passing through 10 ohms. So I can call this one as 29 I beta, which is equal to 29 into current passing through 10 kilovolts. So this is also it is being called. So that is how they are being related. We go with the last source, which is nothing but voltage dependent current source. It is a current source which depends upon voltage across some other element in the same circuit. As it is a current source, we have a diamond shaped symbol with an arrow and it is going to be IS. IS is equal to G into V. So this, if you look more deeper into this formula, if you observe it clearly, I is equal to V by R. 1 by R is also called as G. So I is equal to G times of V. G stands for conduction. Here G is something like constant, we can call it. So let us go with an example of voltage dependent current source. So here this is my 2 times of here we have 2 dependent sources. But as I'm talking about the current source, look at the arrow. So it is 2 times of VI. This is a voltage dependent current source because it depends on VY. Where is your VY? So VY is voltage drop across 2 ohms. So what does this provide? 2 into voltage drop across 2 ohms. This voltage dependent current source is going to provide. So these are all the 4 dependent sources which are basically used in the electrical circuit. Let us go into this one. So if you look at the circuit, you can see here this is a voltage source and Vx. So it is A times of Vx. This is a dependent voltage source. A is a constant. Vx is voltage drop across 2 ohms. I am summarizing all the sources here. Let us go back to current controlled. It is called as dependent or control. Some books write it as control. Some books write it as dependent. So look at this one Ix. So D times of Ix. So that is a voltage source which depends on D times of Ix. Now these two are current sources. Looking at the arrow in the diamond shape, I can say that these are all current sources, dependent current sources or controlled current sources. So C times of Ix. C is a constant. Ix is current passing through the resistance R. B times of Vx. Vx is voltage drop across the resistance R. It is a current source which depends upon the voltage. It is a current source which depends upon the current. It is a voltage source which depends on the voltage. It is a voltage source which depends upon the current. So that's why we have 4 dependent sources. So they are also called as voltage controlled voltage source, current controlled current source. Voltage controlled current source, current controlled voltage source. So with that, I have completed dependent sources and independent sources. And in the next video, I'll be talking to you about few common things which you have to observe from the battery or the DC supply, which look very simple, but where the students get confused. So we'll meet you in the next meeting. So thank you all. Hope you all understood about the active elements in a complete way. Thank you very much. Bye.